Since this video covers movies that were based on a true event, I wanted to take a bit of a more serious approach and cut the intro music just this once. In 2003, two separate movies, Elephant and Zero Day, which were heavily inspired by the events that took place at high school, would be released. However, both of these movies took very different approaches. Since they both cover the same concept, I figured I'd just combine this into one video. Before we get started, make sure you check the Rumble as usual in case any issues come up with this video, which is actually very likely. With that being said, Elephant is a HBO film written, directed, and edited by Gus Van Sant, taken after the 1989 short film by the same title, except instead of basing it off of senseless violence in Northern Ireland war times like the original, it would depict a fictional version of the school that took place on April 20th, 1999. The first character we get introduced to is John. His dad causes him to turn up late to school that day as he was drunk driving, nearly running over a street sign. In the first half of the movie, there's really not much to go over in a scene by scene style like I usually do, as the beginning is painfully mundane. Most of the time, no one is saying anything of importance, or we get a super long shot of someone aimlessly walking around or staring off into space. And I know that sounds boring, but this was done on purpose, because when you think about it, before the attack started, April 20th, 1999 was just like any other boring day at school, and I figured that was the whole point. Instead of overly dramatizing things for entertainment, is really putting you in the environment of an average day at school. There's no dramatic, unnerving music playing or flashy camera work or useless jump scares like it's trying to be a horror film or anything. We're just following along as the morning unfolds. Kids heading to class as usual, passing a friend and having a brief chat in the halls. Just all of the usual things that you don't think twice about as they happen. The regular mundane events of an average school day. We don't actually get to know anything too personal about any of these characters. Rather, we just watch them navigate through their day at school like a fly on the wall. Each character's segment is very brief. This movie spends most of its runtime telling the story from the viewpoint of the students at the school. Something a little different from most movies that retell this story, where typically we just follow along through the viewpoint of the perpetrators. All of the characters we focus on are connected in some way. Maybe we don't get to see all of them hanging out with each other or having extensive conversations, but in some way or another, they cross paths, passing by each other throughout the day of the attack.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
Just get the fuck out of here and don't come back. Some heavy shit's going on.
What are you doing?
This is the first instance that sets off the alarm bells, telling us exactly what is about to happen. Before this point, you'd have absolutely no clue what this movie was even about if you hadn't read up on it beforehand. Right after telling John to go home, the perpetrators, who they renamed Eric and Alex, barge into the school, but so far no one knows exactly what they're up to, so classes carry on as usual. And now John is left with the task of warning everyone, but his attempt would be ineffective. After a lot more slow, minimal dialogue scenes, we would get to follow the days leading up to the attack through the eyes of Eric and Alex. I sure hope no one else drinks that milk.
Oh, what's that? What kind of films the Nazis want?
7 in the morning. It's 7 in the morning.
Yeah, these guys had some problems. As early as it is, and they sitting here watching Nazi documentaries right off the wake up? Okay.
Hey, how you doing? You guys must be out of school today. Oh, good for you. Have you signed for me here?
Saying you must be out of school today while delivering a big ass rifle is crazy. Like, damn, at least check his ID. Wait a minute, what the hell? Did I click on the right movie? I don't even know what to say. I don't know. Next scene. As we know, the library is where most of the casualties took place. John continues to try to warn everyone to not enter the school, but everyone basically just ignores him because no one understands what's going on. They don't get why he's telling them not to go in there.
Hey, sir, don't go in. Sir, don't go in there. Don't trust me. Just don't go in there, please. Don't go in.
Hey, you got...
Okay, I am trying my absolute hardest to stay serious on this video, but does this guy really think right now is the time to be taking pictures? What the fuck is he doing? Right after that, Michelle becomes the first victim. This was actually pretty graphic to watch, and the sound of the gunshots ringing out is so intense and sudden. With headphones on, it literally sounds like it's happening in your room. Even after this, a lot of people still didn't seem to realize what was going on, either out of shock or maybe some people just weren't close enough to the action to hear the intensity of the gunshots.
Some people do it.
What was that?
Don't worry about it. It'll be okay.
Man,
Wait,
just
go ahead. Sit down. Just sit down. Let's finish this. Let's finish this.
Okay, this part made no sense to me. My guy, you see all of these people running in the opposite direction, and he's just casually strolling like there's absolutely nothing going on. Like, what is he doing? But rest in peace to Benny though, at least he helped that girl escape through the window, but I just don't get what he was trying to do.
How'd you do? I shot the principal and...
Well, I was not expecting that. Before watching Elephant, you have to go into it understanding that it's not a movie you exactly watch for fun. And trust me, this isn't me ragging on the movie or anything, but my main critique is that some things were just a bit too over the top towards the end. But let's admit that this movie had a lot of unserious moments, especially towards the end. I literally felt like it got to a point where they were just trolling. Like, for example, we got Alex and Eric getting freaky in the shower for no reason. We have a delivery guy dropping off guns with no questions. He's just like, have fun, kids. Like, he obviously knew they were still in school. You're going to jail. By the way, there's a random bulimia scene? What was that all about? And then we have this guy taking a photo shoot in the middle of a shooting, and then Benny is over here acting like he's taking a stroll in the park. And I swear, someone's dad is drunk in every movie I cover. I think that's mandatory at this point. But going back to a lot of people's main critique with this, it's the mundane nature of the first half of the movie, which I'll end the Elephant review off by saying that they got that part right. No one in that school could have known or been prepared for what was about to happen. All of these scenes full of seemingly meaningless conversations, such as the group of girls gossiping about passing their driver's license test, resembles the exact kind of conversations you could have expected to hear students talking about during that day. It was no different from any other day at school before the perpetrators walked in, and that was captured perfectly. Zero Day 2003 was written and directed by Ben Caccio. The movie is filmed in a found footage style, in the sense that the viewer is watching home video recordings filmed by the perpetrators themselves, after the attack has already taken place. For just under a year, we follow two boys, Andre and Calvin, as they plan out an against their high school. The term 0 Day is the code name they use for the day of the attack, since they plan to carry it out spontaneously on the first day of the year that the temperature would drop to 0 degrees, checking the radio for the weather report first thing every morning. Eventually this idea would end up getting scratched though, because
that was the day that Andre had diarrhea.
While watching this movie, it's easy to forget that these guys are actually planning to up their school. Outside of the parts that they're directly talking about it, for the most part, we're just watching what seems to be two normal teenagers with friends and good families goofing around with the camera. The same way things seem to be in real life, where most thought that these strange videos were just skits for school projects. Disturbing skits nonetheless, knowing what we know now. When they aren't filming themselves screwing around at graveyards or setting off fireworks, they're giving tutorials on how to build explosives or conceal weapons.
I feel a little bit guilty about taking them from Chris. But you know, we are going to steal them from him. We're going to steal them from him, so like, he won't get in any sort of trouble because of that, I don't think. When we started, you know, Andre and I had this plan that we were going to do this to our school and go from state to state and do the same thing. That's not going to happen at all. You know, I'm coming out in a black plastic bag.
This scene has always really stuck out in my head. There's just no remorse. Cal talks about the upcoming attack like it's an end in itself. There's no consideration for anything the victims or their families will have to go through whatsoever. Cal is very comfortable with the idea of dying. He even said at one point that he doesn't understand how people just kill themselves. He believes that there should be some remarkable event surrounding his death because he doesn't want to fade out.
How could somebody just kill themselves? But how many of them realize that the way of the samurai is found in death? I'm not gonna leave cleanly. I'm not just gonna fade out. I'm gonna make my mark, and then it'll be my time to die.
Later in one of their final recordings, the boys would plead for the media to not blame their parents, stating that they would have had no way of knowing they were planning to do this. It was all done behind their backs.
Our parents had nothing to do with this.
I mean, when our parents find these tapes, I mean, what are they going to think? Oh my god, I was asleep upstairs while they were in the basement recording this. We could have known. We could have stopped them.
No.
That's bullshit, Mom. Don't worry about that.
They would finally decide that May 1st, 2001 would be the day, and we watched the tragedy unfold through CCTV footage. Once they finished their killing spree, they turned the guns on themselves. Neither one of these films come off as if they shot the shooting scenes for entertainment, you know, the typical movie crap like adding in a bunch of dramatic slow motion shots and scary music or anything. And in fact, both of these scenes, the way it's done, the event transpires very, very quickly. Like, you hear the gunshots suddenly ring out, and before you know it, the entire environment goes quiet, and you just know there's no one left. 9 days later, a group of students would drive up to the memorial site and film themselves burning Cal and Andre's crosses. Similarly, crosses were also left at the memorial site in real life, but parents of the victims would come together to tear them down. In an eerie final shot, we watched the crosses burn, marking the film's final chilling moment. Similar to Elephant, most of the story before the day of the shooting is full of mundane footage and completely random conversations. Zero Day, of course, focused way more on the daily events of the perpetrators during the months leading up to the attack, rather than the students' perspectives the day of. Similar to Elephant, however, we learn close to nothing about anyone in this film. We really don't know anything about their childhoods or the relationships they have with their families outside of very short one-off conversations, but considering we get more dialogue between Cal and Andre compared to Eric and Alex, there's a bit more normalcy shown in their friendship, which makes the final scene even more horrific for me. In my opinion, what makes these films disturbing is the fact that they're based on an actual tragedy. Beyond the final scenes, not many graphic things are shown beyond the shootings themselves because, again, before 11/19 that morning, it was just another day. So that's 0 Day and Elephant. I'm gonna have to take some time to clear this off of my mind. Let me know what you guys think about these movies in the comments. Which one do you think executed the story better or had the better approach? And I'll catch you all in the next one. Be sure to follow me on Rumble and check out my playlist for all the previous movie reviews.